Welcome to the Jitsi English debate competition. Each of you will speak up for about 7 minutes. There will be a reminder at the first minute, 6 minute, and 7 minute mark. POIs are only allowed after the first minute and before the 6 minutes. Each POI should not be longer than 15 seconds. A speaker should offer and accept at least one POI. After the 7-minute reminder, you may finish your sentence, but then you must finish your speech. Be respectful and listen carefully to your opponents. You may not communicate with anyone outside the team. The motion is ban the use of AI-generated voices of dead people. Speaker 1 for the government. What is your name?
My name is Na Hao Yang.
Thank you. Introduce yourself and begin.
With pleasure. A very good morning to the honorable adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen. I am the first speaker of the affirmative team. We, the proposition team, strongly stands with today's topic, which is this House would ban the use of AI-generated voice of dead people. My name is Na Hao Yang. As the first speaker, I will devise today's topic and to provide substantives with examples to support them. Chua Yi-shun, our team's second speaker, would be giving rebuttals and stating out our team's substantives. Our team's third speaker, Joseph Tan, he will be giving rebuttals as well and to restate our position with more substantives provided. First of all, to start off with our point, let's take a precise look to the motion we have here. This House would ban the use of AI-generated voice of dead people. The definition of that is people must not allow the use of artificial intelligence for generating voice of people who have already passed away. As the technology getting more and more advanced in the modern society nowadays, artificial intelligence, as known as AI, have been getting more and more powerful as well. Artificial intelligence provides us humans many useful functions and convenience towards our daily lives. Out of these various functions, one of them is generating voice. Synthesia is one of the AIs that can be used by people to generate human speaking voice. However, as the time passing by, people are starting to call for the ban of the AI-generated voice of dead people. But why? Why are there people who ask for the restrict of these fun AI functions? Are there any problems with it? The truth is, yes, affirmative. There is a huge problem with it. It might seem that it does no harm. However, when we take a closer look to the practical situation in our world, we would find news about people using AI-generated voice of dead people to commit fraud. Let's take a look to the real-life example. According to Guardian's News and ABC News, these both news media stated out that the amount of scammers using AI-generated voice of dead people to scam their relatives is getting higher. One of the cases is committed by Avril Dawn, a real-life scenario case. Yes?
The use of the AI-generated voice of dead or living people to commit frauds are already illegal. So why would you ban the legal use of synthesis?
They can still use that function. If we ban it, they can't use that function anymore. Okay, now back to the case that I stated out just now. One of the cases is committed by Avril Dawn, a real-life scenario case recorded by the police of Wisconsin, America, accused of using AI-generated voice of dead people to scam his relatives into sending him money up to $10,000 because of medical fee. From this example, the people see the potential of criminal using AI-generated voice of people to trick their relatives who are still living into thinking that it is the voice himself or herself. The above scenario not only dishonored the dead people, but also brings sadness to their relatives, POI rejected, to the relatives who are still living in the world. It does damage not only that. Have you ever heard of the word meme before? Part of the people on the internet nowadays don't care about people who have died and just wanted to use his or her voice to generate video doing silly things or saying meaningless lines which will hurt the past people's relatives' feeling. They have no care or sympathy about using AI-generated voice of dead people to make what they want in the purpose of it is fun and funny. Making memes can indeed be fun, but doing things like that would be too over. Is this the society that we want? People doing things that they think it is funny without even considering about others' feeling? Certainly no. Yes?
Are you implying that a person's consent does not affect whether is it disrespectful or not?
We want to say that if we ban this function of AI, people will not use that function to do silly things, like doing something that might hurt the passed away people's relatives' feeling. Now, may I continue? How can we allow the use of it? Hence, back to our government team's main focus, people must ban the use of AI-generated voice of dead people. It not only extends the risk of fraud, but also deeply hurt the remaining relatives' feeling. It is a matter of course for us to attach attention to this ongoing issue now. That is all from me, and thank you for your time. Yes.
5 minutes 26 seconds. Thank you, teams. You have 60 seconds to prepare before I call up the next speaker. Time is up. Speaker 1 for the opposition. What is your name?
My name is Ujun Kai.
Thank you. Introduce yourself and begin.
Okay. Imagine being able to have limited conversations with your dead mother. It would not be exactly the same, but it could help you face the immense loss better. It gives you comfort and could help you adapt to life in the present. Good afternoon, Mr. and Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ujun Kai. The topic of our debate is this: how would ban the use of AI-generated voice of dead people. We agree with the definition given by the affirmative teams, but we think that it should be concerned. Today, as the first speaker, I'll be talking to you about the first and second point. Why should AI-generated voice of dead people should not be banned? And our second speaker, Yo Kai Jie, we're talking about the third and fourth point about this topic. And our third speaker, Daniel Saw, will rebut and sum up our team case. Just now, the speaker of the affirmative team has tried to tell you that many people wrong using the AI-generated voice of dead people to do some activity that is wrong, such as scamming or others. We strongly disagree with the point because even you ban it, but it will only make this wrong use activity become more. Such as, I'll give an example, like drugs. As we know that many countries in this world ban drugs, but why still drugs are still publicly used around the world?
Why? Because when we ban the drugs in our countries, and we are talking about facts in the debate, when the other countries they don't ban the drugs, the people who are using drugs is more than the people who are using in Malaysia. We are talking about facts and majority, not minority. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, I'll be discussing my first and second point. First of all, my first point is regulation over ban. AI-generated voice brings a lot of function for us, and I think it should not be banned. Rather than imposing a completely ban, it may be more practical to establish regulations and guidelines for the ethical use of AI-generated voice, ensuring that they are used responsibly and respectfully. We should have regulations, laws, and consent from the person. We believe that it is unnecessary to ban something that will be helpful and people who are getting over the loss of loved ones. Throughout our case, we as side opposition will prove to you that the AI-generated voices of dead people brings benefit to the people and should not be banned. The second point is emotional impact. Hearing the voice of decreased loved one would give a mental consolation for the one who lost his lovers. Some people are unable to quickly relieve their grief when faced with bereavement. With using AI-generated voice, they can express their sadness and emotions. They can walk out of their emotions faster. As you chat with the AI, you could gradually learn to go of the negative emotions. The AI-generated voice simply acts as a psychological pillow to cushion the damage. Not only those who recently died, AI technology could preserve the voice of ancestors with their consent. Their legacy could be carried on as their voice acts as a token of their blessing and hope for future generations. So, Mr. and Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, AI-generated voice of dead people could not only decrease negative emotions, but it is also a symbol and token of the legacy of dead people. With that, I urge the judge to stand on our side in today's debate. I will end my speech now. Thank you.
Speaker 1 for the opposition team, 4 minutes 50 seconds. Thank you, teams. You have 60 seconds to prepare before I call up the next speaker. Time is up. Speaker 2 for the government, what is your name?
I'm Isun.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself and begin.
A very good morning to the honorable adjudicators, the timekeeper, and my fellow opponents. I'm Isun, and I'm the second speaker from the government team. And my team and I strongly agree with today's topic, which is ban the use of AI-generated voices of dead people. Okay, before starting on my own point, I have a few places to rebut the opposition's team first speaker, and that is, you said that regulation over ban, right? You want to make like everyone knows about it, everyone knows how to use about it, but how can you share or how can you prove that people would use it responsibly? Okay, there will be more and more people using it, right? But including the criminals will be using it to scam people, to fraud others. Okay, and you also said that emotional impact. Okay, it's included in my content later, but I have to say a little now. That people, or usually criminals or others, would take advantage of it, and they would scam others really easy, just simply scam others. This would make their scamming job really easy. Okay, and you say that hearing their voice could make them learn to go over the emotions. Yes, please.
Are you implying that a normal person could not differentiate virtual from reality, like the voices?
I'm sure that my first speaker will talk about it later.
Thank you.
And I think that you say that people who hear the voices of the dead people, that person generated by AI, could learn to go over the emotions. But do you think that it could be worsened? Do you think about it when you just wrote it? Okay. I'm going to start my point from now. Using AI-generated voices of dead people could mislead other people of they use the sound of dead public figures, celebrities, and others. This could form a rumor about which celebrities were dead or which were alive. Misleading people to believe that they were dead or alive. Some people could take advantage of it and using it. Here I rejected. They're dead or alive. Some people will take advantage of it and using it to accomplish their purpose of a crime. For example, people generate the voice of Coco Lee, okay, the famous Chinese-American singer and songwriter, okay, making her saying that she was still fine and she was still hoping others to feel fine too. And for another example, the American basketball player, Kobe Bryant's voices are used maliciously, especially in China, making it saying things that are disrespectful to the deceased.
Okay, alright.
Yes, please.
Even without the voices of the deceased people, their pictures and their images are still being used to make memes. So are you sure that the AI voice is the one at fault, not the people?
I couldn't deny that, but that's the main part. People use the sounds, and you said that the image and the face, right? They could AI it, but they could only make X, and they could make sounds that mislead others. I totally think that using AI's technology to clone dead people's voice is a disrespectful act to them. I'm going to talk about myself first. I have a favorite artist, which is called XXX Temptation, and he's an American rapper and singer-songwriter. He died at a young age, which is when he's only 20 years old. I feel jubilated as a real fan when I hear songs that generated by AI. And I have to emphasize that this is not the right way to remember or memorize that. Looking on others, I found fans of like K-pop star Jonghyun, who died 7 years ago, also find this disrespectful. I'm sure that many artists' voices are so much more than just what the AI generates. It's also that their artistry and musicality. It can't be recreated by a robot, and it really makes me feel ill and uncomfortable to see others make that. Okay. I know that many people, especially the old, could be simply persuaded if they hear the voice of the dead loved ones. This would caught them off guard and having them giving all their money on their own. Old people can be easily deceived by these AI-generated voices as they are not familiar of the new gadgets or the technologies nowadays. So they can't happen to find that it's just a fraud. Besides, they could maintain their sanity when they heard their voice after a long time or just after their death. I could extend my first speaker's point that I found the data from the news that fraud crimes using gadgets are just more than 36,000 cases, and the cases of the using AI-generated voices to commit crime are more than 5,000. The total loss are up to 11 million US dollars. My speech ends here. Thank you.
Speaker 2 for the government, 6 minutes 12 seconds. Thank you, teams. You have 60 seconds to prepare before I call up the next speaker. Time is up. Speaker 2 for the opposition, what is your name?
Taijie.
Thank you. Introduce yourself and begin.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Imagine if you were able to hear the voice of your ancestors. How amazed would you be? Imagine given a chance to hear the voices of people you originally could not. It is not disrespectful. It is amazing, monumental, and one that is respected. A very good afternoon to the honorable educators, members of the floor, my fellow teammates, and of course my worthy opponents. Today I am the second speaker from the negative team, and I'll be giving out the rebuttals to the government team, and of course giving out my team's point. First of all, the government team has talked about how would we stop the misusing of AI-generated voices, and also how it is used to spread rumors. And most of his points are all being disregarded of what my first speaker has already said. We already said that these voices will be regulated by laws and will be used by companies after the consent of the deceased. And also, giving a bit more context, do you think that, in our world, do you think that people would consent to their voices being used to spread rumors, like what the second speaker from the government team has said? And like my teammate has already said, our main point is about regulating the usage of these voices by law, which they have completely disregarded in their points. Now, moving on. As the opposition team, I do not think that we should completely ban the use of AI-generated voices, but instead use it to our benefit, but under regulations and consent of the person who has passed away with law. Meaning a company, a school, a university, a society
POI, how do you... POI?
Rejected. Can give contract to an artist or to a person to have the right and to use an AI generated voice of their voice even after them being passed away. This can make sure whoever uses the voice of an individual does not use it against their individual's will, as they have already signed an agreement on how their voices will be used, and it is regulated by law. Okay, now moving on to my first point, which is artistic expression. With the consent of artists, they are able to sing and continue their legacy after them passing away. People in the future can hear how these past artists would have sounded like singing modern songs that they have listened to, which is all regulated and controlled by law, with the agreement that the artist or person has signed before their death. Imagine after 50 years, after maybe let's say Justin Bieber has passed away, long dead, with the technology of AI-generated voices, they can actually hear him singing new songs. Again, this is all regulated with law. Also, education is crucial to the development of human society. Accepted?
How do you know that the law is totally controlled, is not controlled by the government or controlled by some of the organizations, certain companies or entrepreneurs?
To answer that, I would say, even if the law does not work completely, again, it is used to mitigate the chances of these voices being misused. Thank you. Okay, again, moving on back to my point. Education is crucial to the development of human society, and that AI-generated voices can serve a big part in education. It can be used in many areas of profession, such as music, history, also teaching. With the help of AI-generated voices from people from the past, it can help with historians to understand how languages like Chinese, Arabic, which have thousands of years of evolution, sounded like 2,000 years or 5,000 years ago. For an example, imagine in your history class, instead of your teacher telling you history just plain from the book, you can have a chance to listen to along that pharaoh telling you his stories in a first-person view, or a heroic general telling how he strategized to defeat his enemies. I think that most people can agree with me that it would be a more effective and interesting way of learning history instead of actually just listening to your teacher, giving it in a third-person view and a very plain story.
POI?
Yes?
So do you think that the virtual like AI is better than a physical teacher?
I'm sorry?
Are you think that the AI is better than a physical teacher? Because
Again?
you say that people is learning from the AI have the better efficiency better than the physical teacher.
First of all, I find that very rude of you. And
very true of me. Okay.
very rude of you.
Oh.
And again, I'm not saying that they are learning from the teachers. I'm saying that they can learn historical stories from the AI-generated voices. Thank you. Moving back to my point, musical schools can use the voices of past artists to let the students understand how to sing in a certain type of way, like how to learn their technique. And also, with AI-generated voices, instead of just listening to the teachers telling you, you sing in a higher note, you sing in a plainer way, you can actually hear and putting that in your mind and trying to sing that again, which is, again, a more interesting way and a more visual way to actually learn how to sing instead of like teachers just telling you how to sing. Also, like they all have concerns about how these musics are being misused. I would like to say again, we are saying that AI-generated voices should not be banned, but they should be regulated instead of being banned. Banned is, again, meaning completely not allowed to use in the legal world. So with that, I would like to urge the judge to stand with my team today in today's motion, which is this House would ban the use of AI-generated voices of that people. And before actually ending my speech, I would like to say again, the third speaker from the government team giving out his POIs without my teammates agreeing, and just now with my consent also, was very rude for me. Thank you.
Speaker 2 for the opposition, 6 minutes, 11 seconds. Thank you, teams. You have 60 seconds to prepare before I call up the next speaker. Time is up. Speaker 3 for the government, what is your name?
I'm Joseph.
Thank you. Introduce yourself and begin.
Okay, I'm the third speaker of the government team, and my team strongly agreed that it should be banned for the AI to generate the voices for the deaf people. So the rebuttals for the speaker 1, we said that it will bring benefits such as help us to relieve our emotions if we use if you use AI to generate the voice of the deaf people, but I can tell you that you'll be more grief because we think about the deaf people more, and this will affect our physical and mental health. And the third rebuttals for the third speaker is the pictures and the words are just in imaginations, but the voice will bring counterfeit to a lot of people. And now that I'm going to state out my point is that the AI object, the AI generator don't have the body language and will cause misunderstandings. Some sort of imitations videos to me, and that was just a fake one. So to make the situation worse, all of the data is controlled by a certain company or a country. So if the hackers have the ability to hack the data, that means they will use the data of the AI in bad intention. What if they use all of this data in bad intention? They will use the AI to generate the voice of the deaf people without consent. So that just now you have quoted that because that's totally no consent because the people is dead already. So how do you get the consent to deaf people? Yes, accepted.
So basically, hacking using AI was already illegal. So how does making it illegal again change things?
So that means that you mean that hacking AI is illegal. If hacking AI is legal, then I think you should stand in my side that it should be banned. Because a lot of people will just because it's illegal, right? It won't be sued and it won't be sentenced to death. So everybody will just hack the AI and they will just use the AI for inappropriate intention or inappropriate use. Just now, that means that if people are using ChatGPT with bad intentions, they hack the ChatGPT. Then after, students of us, we are not matured yet, we search for the ChatGPT and the information was being hacked. Then of course, our perspective and knowledge will be changed, will be corrected, and will be influenced by the hackers and all of the scammers. So let me come back to my statement. If someone hacked the account of the deaf people with bad intentions, this will affect our daily routines in terms of legal and also counterfeit, as they have used the AI without the consent of the deaf people. So on top of that, the statement and all of the statement that have all the words that have been speak out by the deaf people through AI may be changed or may be corrected, then has been firmly agreed by the third speaker, because he just said that the AI would be hacked is illegal. So all of these issues will be more and more serious and will cause destructions to our world and society if we keep using AI to generate the voice of the deaf people. So to recapitulate, my team stands firmly that we should ban the use of AI to generate the deaths of deaf people, as it has no body language and it will cause misunderstandings. It will cause patents and copyright problems and affect our breathing. My speech is here, and thank you very much.
Speaker 3 for the government, 7 minutes, 5 seconds. Thank you, teams. You have 60 seconds to prepare before I call up the next speaker. Speaker 3 for the opposition. What is your name?
His name is Daniel.
Thank you. Introduce yourself and begin.
So, I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. So, hearing Marilyn Monroe sing the Titanic theme, listening to your late mother talking about the latest news, hearing the Pharaoh giving a self-introduction, all this is possible only through our current AI technology. Humanity has advanced thus far not only scientifically, but also culturally. So why would we want to ban this advancement? And again, before I go into my speech, here are a few things I would love to clarify. First thing, souvenirs and dioramas, they are not exactly the real thing, but it is the memories, it is the kind of feeling that you feel for it that actually counts, that help you remember the thing. And secondly, on consent. Our side has strongly stood on a case that we would not ban the use of AI-generated voices of dead people under the case that it is consented when they were alive. So basically, all of their cases of misuse, of scams and fraud, all of this is actually doesn't really stand, because if I did not consent for my voice to be used this way, at the end of it all, it would still be illegal. Same as their case, the scams and frauds would be illegal on both sides. So I do not see how they, in particular, have advantage over us in this case. So I would be addressing today's clashes. Firstly, on the misuse of AI-generated voices, and secondly, on the benefits we reap. The points I am going to prove are twofold. So firstly, going into the misuse of AI-generated voices of dead people. Firstly, they say that there will be scams, unintended use. We will be disrespecting the deceased by this way. But as we already stated in our POIs earlier, this kind of misuse and scams are already illegal. So what if we ban it? It will still be the same, it will still be illegal, there is no change to it. But the only difference is that people do not get to enjoy the benefits of it. So in our world, scams and frauds are illegal and people get to enjoy the usage of AI generated voices because as we already said, we regulate it. But in their world, everybody doesn't get to use it at all. And as I said before, the illegal activities will still go on because, as I said, no regulations are present to keep them in check. Fireworks are illegal in Malaysia, but people still use it. Why? Because it's fun, and there aren't really strict regulations to catch you even if you use it. It's just illegal. That's all. That doesn't stop people from using it specifically, and government did not give us POI rejected. Did not give us any substantive on how they will actually stop this kind of scams and frauds. And we will show to you, we'll prove to you how scams and frauds would be less prominent in our case. So basically, from a large scale of going against the law of using illegal things for recreation, from a huge scale, let's say drugs, and responding to their POI just now, it is at least regulated in the US. And in countries, so they at least consume safe drugs, which is not really safe. But in countries where it's not regulated, they consume crack, they consume moonshine, which is far more deadly compared to the drugs used in the US. Why? Because it is banned. That's why every single thing that comes in is not regulated, is not checked. So actually banning it actually has a counter effect of making it way more dangerous than it used to be, than it should be, because there are no regulations present. Because why? Because it is illegal. On a lesser scale, as I said earlier, fireworks. Fireworks are illegal in Malaysia, in China, and in many, many other countries, but people still use it. And there are a lot of accidents and cases of misuse. Why? Because the factories that produce it are illegal. Are there any regulations? No, because as I said again, they are banned, which is a huge problem that presents itself in our world today. The problem, POI accepted.
Just like the fireworks, you say want to make it with regulations. If we regulate the AI generated voice, just like fireworks, we ban it, right? But it's still happening. If you regulate, how you never explain how are they going to work?
Okay, so ban doesn't equal to regulate. Regulate means allowing the use, but conditionally, and I would go into that in my speech later. So basically, the problem lies not in banning or not. The problem lies in the people who are misusing it. So today, we as side opposition propose to regulate those people, those crime cases specifically, instead of pouring our resources all over the place. So in summary, to sum up this clash, bans make regulations not applicable because bans spread, they spread their resources everywhere. They ban everyone in general. But in our case, when we use regulations, we focus our resources on only those certain kinds of criminals, those who misuse it. So in our case, this is actually way better and way more ideal compared to theirs. So, secondly, onto the benefits of using AI-generated voices of dead people. As we said again, the use of this is consented. Would you consent your voice to be used to commit fraud? Would you use your voice to scam people, especially your relatives? No. As I said again, yes, of course there will be scams and frauds in our current world. But as I said again, I would like to say it yet again, it is already illegal in our current world. Why would you go as far to put a ban on it, which is still illegal? It doesn't change the fact, and as I said again, people do not get to enjoy the benefits in their world while people get to enjoy the benefits in our world. As I said again, the benefits are your legacy gets to be passed on. You get to have a more immersive experience during education. For example, the teacher could use the voice of Pharaoh as a teaching material. Of course, you will feel more immersed into the scene during the time, and of course, the emotional quotient. They say that the third negative speaker has talked about how it affects the grieving process. But then again, do you really think that being able to talk to someone deceased make you more sad? No. Are you sure that you will not be, you're so delusional as not to be able to differentiate between what's virtual and what's reality? No, of course you know that that's just an AI. And all you are doing is just, fill the empty space in your heart until you gradually get used to it, POI accepted.
Of course we have more grief. You see a lot of things, like when we broke up, we will throw away all the souvenirs, all of the gift that have given by our loved ones, because when we see that, we will feel sad.
So basically, what I have to answer to this is that basically, if you leave, for example, you go to Japan to play, you bought a lot of souvenirs, but when you come back, are you going to throw it all away because seeing it again makes you sad, because it makes you remember? No, the problem lies not within the souvenirs, it lies within the thoughts of a person. And as they talk about how the singers and all the announcers, the MCs, their voice have been misused against, all of this lies not in the problem of bans, it lies in the problem of regulation. So in conclusion, bans are not necessarily 100% effective and could not regulate present illegal activities. Regulations, however, could better control things that otherwise they could not. As I've proven earlier, society deserves to enjoy the advancements of technology instead of banning everything new or advancing, which stunts growth as we are afraid of advancement, and denying the people the benefits of this new technology. With that, I'm very proud to oppose. Thank you very much.
Speaker 3 for the opposition, 6 minutes 55 seconds. Thank you, teams. Please leave the room for the educators' deliberation.